Like, Republicans and Republican talking heads, propagandists like Michael Knowles have just completely abandoned the idea that they should be getting like their analysis from people who know things, and instead that they should just get their analysis from people who know nothing. So I present to you Michael Knowles' stunning economic breakdown.
Live from the Polymarket studio in LA.
Really good news on the economic front. The recession odds have fallen to the lowest level ever recorded, according to Polymarket. The odds of a U.S. recession have fallen to their lowest level, dropped from 70% in late April to just 19% this week. It's ever recorded on Polymarket. Looking really nice.
Wow, look at this, guys. The online crypto betting market, Polymarket, is saying a lot of people don't think a recession is going to happen. Isn't that great? No, wow, wonderful. Lowest on record for Polymarket, a company that's been around for like a year. Advanced Turtle Logic, I appreciate the bluntness of your response. What a dumb bitch, indeed.
Live from the Polymarket studio in LA.
It's not even, you can't even legally participate in Polymarket if you're in the United States, by the way. Like, the presentation that this is a reliable source to get your data from, especially on like economic concerns, is nuts.
Do you remember back on Liberation Day, when we were told that Trump tariffs were going to go into effect, then the tariffs did go into effect, and people lost their minds, and all the analysts freaked out, and the market dropped, and the bond market went crazy,
and the bond market went crazy. I wonder if the bond market is doing well. I wonder if it's recovered. Also, thank you very much for the gifted sub. Very much appreciate it. Now, interesting that he is talking about the bond market here, because I can't help but notice that a few days ago, Donald Trump has begun a new effort to try and fire Powell from the Federal Reserve. And let me tell you guys, if that actually happens, if Jerome Powell is fired from the Federal Reserve, the bond market is going to go insane. Is that cigar a joke? No, he likes cigars. Yeah. Anyway, CNN did this piece. And this is basically guaranteed. Mayhem for bonds. If the bond market goes, folks, like, our currency is fucked. If the bond market goes, we are in an economic sense, we are fucked. We're in a really bad state. It has the potential to like have a cascade effect of Titanic proportions, and that's no good. It would, if the bond market gets fucked, we're in more than like a 2008 recession. Like, it's going to be like bad in a way many people who are currently alive have not experienced.
That we are now headed to recession. And this is it. The walls are closing in on Trump. This is finally it. Plenty of people say, I'm turning on Trump now. And then what happened? It was a total tempest in a teapot. The economy today looks better than it did back then. And the economy is probably kind of a little, the market was a little overvalued, I think, back then, even at the end.
The market was a little overvalued. So, actually, when you look at the history of the market, it's maybe it needed to come down a little bit. Maybe we needed a little market crash. Also, just as an FYI, interestingly enough here, Japan's Nikkei surges to one-year peak and bonds slide on U.S. trade deal. Oh, that's so strange. It's almost like the economic uncertainty isn't going away anytime soon. Yeah, Trump said on Tuesday the U.S. and Japan had struck a trade deal that includes a 15% tariff that will be levied on U.S. imports from the Asian country, down from a threatened tariff of 25%. Understand here, folks, like, a 15% tariff is exorbitantly high. It's exorbitantly high. The idea that like, oh, well, actually, it's good that we have these high tariffs. No, it's not. It's fucking all of you. It's making things 10, 15, 20% more expensive for no reason.
Us a well-spoken god of wetness. Now you force on us the dryness that would make Satan weep.
Caracal, thank you for the $5 super chat. Very much appreciated.
End of the Biden administration. This might have corrected it. This is what Trump was talking about with the panic hands. And it's why sometimes when Trump says or does anything, you have all these neurotic people just freaking out. Well, I don't care if it's bombing Iran. I don't care if it's the economy. I don't care if it's some new immigration policy. I don't care if it's some tweet about football, which we'll get to momentarily because Trump has some of those too. They freak out. They lose their minds. And all these people say, I've supported Trump in the past. Usually it's people who've supported Trump for 6 minutes. So listen, I've supported Trump, but I'm turning on Trump now. These guys, these libertarians, former left-wing guys, say, listen, I was a Trump supporter. Yeah, you were a Trump supporter from late October 2024 to the first week of November 2024. You've been a huge lib or libertarian or never Trumper the whole rest of the time. But and now I'm turning my support. And I always say, whenever these things happen, I say, give it a breather. Even on the Epstein files, there are people who had supported Trump for somewhat longer saying, I'm turning on him now. I said, just give it a breather, man. He gets it.
Just real quick. Okay. Here's how Barron's, a capitalistically minded outlet, to say the least, is reporting on this particular situation. Powell ouster threat boosts bond market's cleanest trade. President Donald Trump's effort to drive short-term interest rates lower is prompting traders to bet that the yield curve will steepen. A steepening yield curve occurs when the difference between longer-term and shorter-term bond yields grows. Investors got a sneak peek of it working on Wednesday when a perceived threat to the Fed's independence shot the difference in yields between 5-year and 30-year above 100 basis points. Trump later quelled those fears by calling Fed Chair Jerome Powell's firing highly unlikely, yet the spread between the two treasuries settled at 103 basis points on Tuesday, close to its widest spread in years. 100 basis points equals 1 percentage point. The market is quite aware that Powell's term as Fed chair ends next year, even if Trump doesn't try to push him out sooner. Yes, basically, if what we're seeing here is correct, Jerome Powell, or threats on Jerome Powell, make the short-term returns better than the long-term returns, meaning that you're effectively liquidating the long-term results and in favor of these short-term investments, which means fewer people are holding on to U.S. bonds, which means, essentially, our money and our economy becomes toothless and less important, less traded, less stable, and easier to manipulate and make a profit off of all of the suckers and losers who don't have billions of dollars to be a major player. So that's kind of the situation in layman's terms, folks. Super fun.
He listens. He sees things. Don't worry. He's done pretty well, though, these last 10 years. He managed to win the highest office in the land on his first shot, his first real attempt at any political office.
I like that all of his smug a Polymarket shift in odds on a casino gambling website. This is this man's source of information.
Just give it a breather. But then the problem is, this is what happens with the newspapers. The newspaper reports some BS story, and everyone reads it. And then it turns out not to be true, and they print the retraction 2 months later on the last.
It's so interesting that Michael Knowles rags on mainstream press for being riddled with inaccuracies, and yet doesn't actually issue any corrections when he himself gets a story wrong. It's very interesting.
Last page of the newspaper, and no one reads it. It's the same thing here. So it's very important to point this stuff out. Many, many people on television and their fancy ties, they were saying 2 months ago, 3 months ago, 1 month ago, the economy is going to collapse because of Trump. Lowest level ever recorded when looking at recession odds on Polymarket. Keep that in mind next time. Now,
hey, just out of curiosity, just real quick, I'm just real curious here. Lowest on record ever recorded from Polymarket. Polymarket, founded 5 years ago. The threat of a recession is the lowest in 5 years.
Live from the Polymarket studio in LA.
Speaking of what could have been, Hunter Biden.
All right, we're done. I don't want to hear this man talk about Hunter Biden's dick. I can't handle it. I can't handle that amount of homoerotic tension. Anyway, this is what conservatives are trying to cook with right now, rather than doing they're just doing anything other than talking about the biggest scandal Trump has ever been embroiled in with Jeffrey Epstein. Anything to talk about it, anything else. Hey, Polymarket has good odds that we aren't going to be in a recession? Sure, let's do a story on that. We don't have to look up any additional details. Just look at the Polymarket info and bluster about how like Donald Trump's great. Just glaze him. Nonstop glaze. We must glaze him harder to protect him from the pedophile accusations. Hey, sure. All of the conservatives in Congress might be falling in line to defend Jeffrey Epstein and the entire, cadre of individuals he abused children with. But, we aren't going to talk about this Jeffrey Epstein situation. Like, obviously, it's all a hoax. It's all a hoax.
You look like a bitch.
I'm sorry. If you care about what is happening right now, if you care about the Epstein list or the victims ever getting justice, sorry, this is a non-story. And the fact that he's wasting his time on this and being so goddamn smug about it, well, it's an act. He's a failed actor, so it's not a very good one, but it is an act. And, I think we should all be aware of that and understand what Michael Knowles' purpose is here. And it is to essentially provide more smokescreen for the president so that they can figure out what the hell to do while the walls of Jeffrey Epstein close in around the White House. That being said, like, comment, and subscribe to do the things, you scallywags.
Riverboat Jack is coming to town. All the viewers gather around. Twitch and YouTube and swishy streams. All that content is bursting the seams. Politics, gaming, plenty more. Your sense of fashion you'll adore. So grab your stuff and hop aboard. We're going straight to Jack's Discord.